One of the great challenges that happens when you're creating an investable social enterprise is the question of scale. How big do I need to make this thing in order to reach sustainability, but also to have the kind of impact that I want to have in the good that I'm trying to do in the world? Beck, tell me a little bit about STREAT and where you started and what kind of scale the problem was and what kind of scale you thought STREAT needed to be to match that problem.
There are 105,000 homeless in Australia, so the scale of the problem is enormous.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to get kind of overwhelmed by the scale of the problem. However, we wanted to give ourselves, I guess, the best shot possible at building something that could scale to over time start to match the scale of the need. So we started by going back and assessing actually what the need was. So in our feasibility study, looking at the scale of the problem both locally and nationally, and internationally, and that was kind of like our compass. But then you've got to kind of come right back and say, okay, well, what's possible in this first little chunk of work? And what we've done, I guess, is say we want to give ourselves the biggest chance of being able to scale longer term. Yeah. So scaling was in our DNA, I guess, right from that outset. But the thing that we did is we knew that we'd probably have to do a bunch of things up front and kind of put a whole bunch of foundations under the organisation that would give ourselves the most chance of scaling longer term. So you would say in the early days we had no scale, but we had scalability.
Yep.
Because what we had done is we'd invested in systems and processes and people who knew how to take a small organisation and build it into a bigger thing. And you'd probably say, actually, we were quite top heavy in a way as an organisation and quite expensive in those first couple of years. But every major decision we were making, we were asking ourselves is this repeatable, is this scalable? And that really paid off because it meant that when the opportunities started to arise, that we could scale quite quickly. We can now, 5 years into running businesses, if the right site popped up for a cafe for us, in 2 weeks' time, we could be operating it in 2 weeks' time because everything is kind of there as far as standardised, operating procedures and the team. So yeah, getting those foundations at the early point to give yourselves the most chance of scaling, I think is really important.